The ongoing trade crisis is highly alarming countries in Africa and, more importantly, those nations whose economies are highly intertwined with the U.S. and China. Now, former Under-Secretary General, Executive Secretary of UN Economic Commission for Africa, Carlos Lopez, warned that if the ongoing trade dispute continues, there won't be any single winner, but so many billions of people globally will fall victim. In an exclusive interview with CGTN's Girum Chala, Carlos Lopez said the continental free trade area is Africa's best response to what is unfolding worldwide.
Thank you very much, Dr. Carlos, for talking to CGTN. Now, there is a global phenomena at the moment between the United States and China. Some people say it will graduate to trade war at the moment. What do you make of the whole situation, and how likely is it going to perhaps develop into a trade war?
Well, I don't think there will be a real trade war, but if we look into the mega trends, we can certainly expect that the tensions between the United States and China on the trade front are going to increase. I don't think it will go all the way to a trade war because it's not in the interest of China to actually have strained relations with the U.S. in that regard, because it's their #1 export market. And for the U.S., it's not in their interest either to pursue this beyond a certain point, because it will penalize their consumers, and I think this will not gel very well with some of the basic interests of the U.S. government in terms of their macroeconomic policy. But what really is re-emerging is protectionism. And this is an undermining of the trade multilateral system as it is right now. And certainly it contributes to regress in terms of liberalization as the credo for countries to actually vigorously pursue growth.
With this trend, absolutely, apart from the Americans and the Chinese, the African continent could be affected. So when two ships collide, do you think the boat in Africa might sink?
I think we can expect that we are not in a very good negotiating position because of our fragmentation, and if there is more and more protectionism, this is going to repercute also in the relations with us. And we are seeing it with the AGOA that is being used by US now to retaliate against East African countries that are importing used clothes, or we can see it with Brexit that is going to get the UK out of the agreements that have been signed between Europe and Africa. We can see the negotiations that Africa is having for the partnership agreements with Europe that are not going very well. So we see those tendencies everywhere. So it's not good for Africa.
Well, you've been serving as the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. You are a scholar on economic issues and others. So you are the right person to suggest perhaps the African leadership to prepare at least to avoid what is coming out of the so-called looming trade war in the world.
Some people say, how come Africa is moving into a continental free trade area at the time where basically these agreements are being under stress and being questioned in other parts of the world? And I think for that very reason, Africa needs more protection than others. Some mature economies can feel that they can go alone because they can protect more what is becoming a much more competitive world environment in terms of value chains in different areas. But Africa is not even in that competition. Africa is in the competition to create its own regional cross-border value chains. And for that it needs to protect itself with the tariff system. That's why the continental free trade area is the best response to what is unfolding.